Welcome back, golfers. Today, we're walking through PGA National Champion Course, one of the most mentally demanding, strategically honest tests on the PGA Tour and the annual home of the Cognizant Classic. This is also the home of the Bear Trap. Holes 15, 16, and 17 form one of the most intimidating closing stretches in professional golf. 3 holes where water dominates sightlines, wind swirls unpredictably, and par gains ground on the field. This is PGA National as it's meant to be played. Let's head to the first tee. At just 365 yards, the opening hole at PGA National is a short par 4 that immediately tests discipline and decision-making. Off the tee, water lines the entire left side while out of bounds runs down the right. The fairway narrows as it approaches the bunker, creating a classic visual squeeze that can lure players into swinging too hard. Despite the modest yardage, this is a hole where position matters more than power, and many players are better served choosing less than driver to find the wider landing area. The approach plays into a deep, narrow green that offers little margin for error. A deep pot bunker guards the front, and any shot that comes up short or slightly offline is heavily penalized. The safest and smartest option is to bail out to the right side of the green, leaving a straightforward chip or putt and eliminating the bunker from play. Hole 2 is a brutal early test and one of the most demanding driving holes on the property. At 464 yards, this par 4 asks for both length and accuracy right away. Trees line the entire left side, while out of bounds hugs the right, creating a narrow corridor that punishes indecision. The landing area tightens further with a fairway bunker that pinches the zone, forcing players to commit fully to their line and club selection off the tee. The approach shot is equally exacting. The green features a pronounced bowl on the front left, and distance control is everything here. Depending on pin position, there can be as much as a 3-club difference from front to back, making conservative yardage calculations risky. Shots that come up short can funnel into the bowl, while anything long quickly turns into a difficult recovery. The smart play is to prioritize center of green targets, take the proper number, and resist the urge to chase tucked pins. At 538 yards, hole 3 is a par 5 that looks like an early scoring chance, but only if it's played with discipline. The tee shot sets everything up. Water runs along the right side, and it stays relevant longer than most players expect. While the hole gently bends left, aggressive drives that try to cut too much corner bring penalty into play quickly. The smart play is a controlled tee shot that prioritizes position and keeps the ball dry. On the second shot, this par 5 demands a decision. The fairway tightens as you move closer to the green, and water continues to influence the right side, making half-committed attempts to reach in 2 especially costly. Players choosing to lay up must control distance carefully to avoid leaving an awkward wedge number. The green rewards shots played from the fairway with the proper angle, but misses short or right-turn birdie opportunities into scrambling pars. At 395 yards, hole 4 is a short, dogleg left par 4 that tempts aggression but quietly punishes imprecision. Off the tee, there is ample room to the right, encouraging players to bail away from the corner and keep the ball in play. While cutting the dogleg can shorten the hole, the smarter play is often positioning the tee shot for angle rather than distance, setting up a clear look into the green. The challenge intensifies on the approach. Despite the modest yardage, distance control is critical. The green is wide but shallow, angled from left to right, and demands precise carry numbers. Deep bunkers guard both the front and the back, effectively cradling a narrow landing zone and exposing even slight misjudgments in yardage. Shots that land pin high from the wrong angle can quickly find sand, turning a birdie chance into a difficult up and down. At 217 yards, hole 5 is a long par 3 that is often labeled the most manageable of the set, but that reputation depends entirely on tee placement. From the tee, water guards the entire short and left side, immediately eliminating any miss in that direction. The safe miss is to the right, where a bailout area keeps bogey in play and avoids the penalty stroke. When the tees are forward, the hole can feel straightforward. When stretched to the back, it quickly becomes a demanding long iron or hybrid test. The green adds a subtle but important layer of difficulty. A bowl in the mid-right portion of the putting surface makes backpin positions especially tricky, as shots that don't carry far enough can funnel away and leave delicate recoveries. At 479 yards, hole 6 is a bruising par 4 that plays more like a par 5 in disguise and demands 2 committed shots. Finding the fairway is non-negotiable. Bunkers frame both sides of the landing area, and anything leaking left can be kicked by the slope toward water, turning a slight miss into immediate trouble. Position off the tee matters far more than squeezing out extra yards. The second shot is where the hole's strategy reveals itself. From this length, many approaches feel like a go or manage decision more common to a par 5. The smartest play is to aim for the opening mid-right portion of the green, using the severe back-left slope to feed the ball toward back-left hole locations. Shots flown directly at those pins risk bounding long or left, leaving extremely difficult recoveries. At 226 yards, hole 7 is a demanding long par 3 that puts full pressure on carry distance and club selection. The tee shot is all carry, with bunkers guarding both the front left and front right of the green, and virtually no opportunity to run the ball onto the putting surface. A dip through the middle of the green complicates front pin positions, as shots that don't land with the correct trajectory and distance can be repelled or leave awkward downhill putts. The green itself is very deep, creating significant yardage variance from front to back, and making precise club choice critical. Taking too little club brings the front bunkers and mid-green dip into play. Too much club leaves difficult long putts or delicate recoveries from the back. At 427 yards, hole 8 is a par 4 that looks inviting from the tee but rewards awareness more than aggression. The fairway is generous, encouraging players to swing freely, but water crosses the hole, forcing a clear decision on club selection and carry distance. Wind is the hidden variable here. While the tee shot may feel exposed, the trees surrounding the green often block the prevailing wind, creating a disconnect between what players feel on the tee and what the ball experiences on approach. The green is approachable but subtly demanding. It slopes back to front and left to right, yet offers generous target areas, making putting manageable from the middle of the surface. Pins can be attacked when conditions are calm, but misjudging wind or distance quickly brings trouble back into play. At 421 yards, hole 9 is a subtle but demanding par 4 that closes the front 9 with a premium on smart positioning. The tee shot plays to a slight dogleg left, with trees lining the left side and a fairway bunker guarding the right, narrowing the effective landing area. The ideal drive favors control over shape, setting up a clean angle into the elevated green. The approach is more exacting than it appears. The green sits elevated and is protected by a deep bunker front left, which catches shots that come up even slightly short. Because of the elevation and bunker placement, the smart play is to take an extra club and ensure the ball carries fully onto the putting surface. The green itself is angled from back left to front right, encouraging shots to be played from the correct side of the fairway. Misses are best short and right, where a bailout area leaves a manageable chip and avoids the bunker entirely. At 408 yards, hole 10 is a dogleg right par 4 that offers a welcome scoring opportunity, provided it's played with patience. The tee shot plays to an open fairway, inviting a confident swing, but bunkers down the right side punish drives that get too aggressive trying to cut the corner. The ideal play is positioning the ball in the fairway to set up a comfortable approach rather than forcing distance. The reward comes on the second shot. This hole features one of the most forgiving greens on the course, making it the most accessible of the 4 greens in this stretch. With fewer severe slopes and generous landing areas, aiming for the middle of the green consistently produces makeable birdie looks. At 450 yards, hole 11 is a formidable par 4 that consistently ranks among the toughest tests at PGA National, especially during the Cognizant Classic. The tee shot immediately demands restraint and awareness. The fairway runs out to the right, and drives pushed even slightly can tumble toward water that creeps into play, shrinking the effective landing zone. Finding the correct portion of the fairway is essential, not just for safety, but for setting up any chance on the approach. The second shot is where this hole earns its reputation. Water guards the entire front of the green, while a bunker waits back left, punishing shots that miss long or left. The green is angled from front left to back right, leaving very little margin for error. Distance control must be precise. Shots flown directly at pins are often the wrong play. The only real forgiveness comes from a small bailout area left of the green, which leaves a challenging but playable recovery. At 438 yards, hole 12 is a dogleg right par 4 that rewards shape and commitment off the tee. Bunkers guard both the left and right sides of the landing area, narrowing the effective fairway and putting a premium on starting line and curvature. Players who are comfortable fading the ball can take advantage of the hole's shape, opening up a cleaner angle into the right side of the green. The approach offers options, but only with discipline. A well-positioned fade from the fairway allows aggressive lines to right-side pins. For everyone else, the middle of the green is the smart target, avoiding short-side misses and keeping trouble out of play. There is also a bailout area left of the green, which provides forgiveness when distance or angle isn't ideal. At 368 yards, hole 13 is a short par 4 that looks manageable on the scorecard but demands accuracy from start to finish. The driving zone is narrow, with penal bunkers lining the left side and water guarding the right, creating a claustrophobic tee shot despite the modest length. Position off the tee is far more important than distance, as the hole typically plays short and leaves players with a short iron approach when the fairway is found. The approach must be precise. The green is slightly elevated and slopes back to front, making distance control critical. Bunkers short and right are particularly penal and should be avoided at all costs, as shots landing there leave difficult recoveries to a green that sheds the ball quickly. At 465 yards, hole 14 is a long dogleg left par 4 that quietly wears players down through positioning and length. Off the tee, bunkers guard the left side, punishing any attempt to aggressively cut the corner. While challenging the inside line can shorten the hole, the risk is significant. Most players will choose the safer route to the right side of the fairway, but that decision comes at a cost. Playing away from the dogleg makes this hole play even longer, often turning the approach into a demanding long iron or hybrid. The approach shot requires careful planning. The green features a severe bowl in the mid-right portion, which can be used to feed the ball toward certain hole locations if approached correctly. However, shots that miss their intended landing area can quickly be deflected into trouble. The bailout area to the right of the green provides the only real forgiveness, leaving a challenging but manageable up and down. At 179 yards, hole 15 is the first shot fired in the bear trap, and it's a par 3 that exposes indecision immediately. The tee shot is framed by trouble on every side. Water guards the front, right, and long, while a bunker sits left, meaning there's no comfortable miss if you don't commit to a number. The green is set on a front left to back right diagonal, which makes the target feel smaller than it is and places extra value on starting line and curvature. The only true escape is the bailout short left, where you can keep the ball dry and leave a playable pitch, especially when the pin is tucked or the wind is up. Wind is the hidden boss on this hole. At 179 yards, it's extremely susceptible to 2 to 3 club swings. So the smart play is to check the treetops, trust your feel, and pick the club that guarantees a full carry to the safe portion of the green. Hole 15 is bear trap golf in its purest form. One committed swing, one smart target, and a par that feels like a win. At 434 yards, hole 16 is the second act of the bear trap, and it's a par 4 that punishes misplaced aggression. Off the tee, the strategy flips the usual instinct. The farther you hit your drive, the tighter the fairway becomes, squeezing between hazards and forcing precision at speed. The shortest approach comes from the right side of the fairway, but earning that angle requires flirting with both a bunker and water, making it a high-risk, high-reward choice. The approach is pure bear trap pressure. Shots must be played over water into a two-tiered green, where distance control is critical to avoid awkward putts or tough recoveries. The saving grace is a generous bailout short of the green, which keeps the ball dry and leaves a straightforward pitch when conditions or nerves aren't ideal. Hole 16 is about restraint and clarity. Pick the tee shot position that matches your confidence, respect the carryover water, and remember, a conservative par here gains ground on the field as the bear trap tightens its grip. At 175 yards, hole 17 is the third and final shot of the bear trap, and it demands absolute commitment under pressure. The hole plays slightly downhill, but water guards the entire front, creating a carry shot that must be executed with conviction. Long is no bargain either. A bunker behind the green leaves a treacherous recovery to a putting surface that slopes back toward the water, turning misjudged distance into instant stress. Club selection is everything here. With elevation change and wind swirling through the corridor, being even half a club off can mean the difference between a putt for par and scrambling for bogey. The bailout area to the left is the smart miss, keeping the ball dry and leaving a manageable up and down. Hole 17. At is bear trap golf distilled. Clear decision, full commitment, no second chances. Trust the number, favor the bailout when needed, and take your par without apology. At 556 yards, hole 18 is a dogleg left par 5 that offers one final scoring opportunity, but only for players who stay disciplined all the way through. The tee shot is the most forgiving part of the hole. At this length, the fairway is generous off the tee, inviting a confident drive to start the closing stretch. However, the hole quickly tightens on the second shot, where the layup zone narrows severely, forcing precise distance and directional control. The approach into the green is deceptively demanding. Water guards the right side, while bunkers protect the left, squeezing the effective landing area. There is a bailout left of the green, which is the smart option when the pin is tucked or conditions are difficult. Players attacking must be especially cautious of right-side hole locations, where only a thin sliver of green is available and any slight miss is punished immediately. Hole 18 is a fitting finish at PGA National. At 556 yards, it rewards patience, smart positioning, and a clear plan. Execute 3 controlled shots, and you're rewarded with a legitimate birdie chance. Get careless late, and this closing par 5 can turn into one final test before the clubhouse. That's PGA National's Champion Course, a place where strategy matters more than swing speed, and where par is never accidental, especially through the bear trap. If this breakdown helped you see the course more clearly, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and stick around for more hole-by-hole strategy that simplifies how the game is really played. Thanks for watching. See you on the next tee.